He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got something.
30,
He's got
40,
something.
50,
He's got it.
40,
He's got it.
20, 10.
He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown Titans. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle. McNair drops. Throws right side for Dyson. He dives for the end zone.
Didn't make it.
He came up 1 yard short.
You think about those 2 moments in 3 weeks apart, that's the epitome of sport.
Bullseye View. I'm the host with the most, baby. Podcasting for the masses, and I'm coming correct.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Bullseye View. I am the host with the most, Keith Bullock. Right now, I have Mr. Music City Miracle, Dr. Kevin Dyson in the building. Thanks for coming through, KD. We've been trying to get this together. Actually, you were actually one of my first guests when we were doing a different format. Like you walked in, you see the studio, we popping now, you know what I'm saying?
I see it, man. Turned into a whole show now.
You know what I'm saying? But Kevin was the first round pick in '98 for the Titans. Went to the University of Utah. Little fact that KD was drafted ahead of Randy Moss in that draft. Did you personally expect to go before Randy Moss? Because Randy Moss was being talked about out of high school. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the guy almost like LeBron-esque. And when that did happen, and Tennessee drafted you, did you feel any extra pressure or what were your expectations? Of yourself?
Yeah, so the first part of that is, no, I did not expect to, because anywhere you look, he was going anywhere in that top 5. Well, then all the stuff came out about his past, and he didn't interview well, apparently, and all the things. He's polished and mature now. Obviously, he's a grown man, but back then there was that stigma to him. Well, I was always projected, well, not always, for that process anywhere from 8 to 16, which is what I went. So I knew I was going to be in that range.
So Moss had nothing to do with you.
He had nothing to do with me. Yeah. But he had to do with everybody else because we all dropped. And sure enough, I got the call from Jeff and Floyd on the phone. And, man, I said, you ready to come? I was like, yeah, you know. And so you get drafted first round. Not only you get drafted first round, you go in front of an icon. Like you said, he already established himself when he was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I put that pressure on you. And I wrote about it in my book because I was talking about, like, that first Thanksgiving was my first time away from family. I was here. People had asked me to come and celebrate with them, but I didn't want to intrude on people's families. So I was by myself for the first time on a holiday. You call home and, like, everybody's home together and you just...
Hey, what's up, Kevin?
Yeah. I went to Honey Baked Ham and got me a
doing
meal.
Over there?
Yeah, they enjoying themselves, hee-hee, and hocking and laughing. And I'm eating Honey Baked Ham for dinner. And then we turn on the game and Moss goes off against the Cowboys. 3 catches, 197 yards, I think 3 touchdowns. And I just got down on myself, man. It just changed something in me for a little bit. I started doubting myself, started feeling like, was I worthy of the pick? Am I validated? And then there was a moment of motivation where you kind of get over that and you're like, okay, I can do this. And you had some success here and there, especially my rookie year. Then the second year started off great. And that's when we became the Titans. Opened up the stadium, 100-yard game, 9 catches, and I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm ready. And then through the first half of the season, I'm on pace for like 1,100 yards. I ended up with 800 something yards, and I think through the first half of the season, I had 600 something. So that tell you that second half now, we, you know, how you get in for playoffs, start running a little bit more. Right. So it was a little bit different, but I literally had 75% of my yardage in about a 6-7 game span. And then the second half of the season was I was just out there, you know.
So it kind of showed you how it can come in chunks.
It does, man. And how our offense was from a receiver standpoint, you know, your opportunities were going to be few and far, for the most part. It progressed a little bit as Mac got a little more versed and the offense kind of changed with Heimerdinger. But it was just like if you get opportunity, you got to make the most of it because you don't know when the next one was coming.
So when you got drafted, like you said, it was the Oilers Titans still. Y'all were at Vandy. When you got to Tennessee, what was your that whole Vandy experience?
When I came to Vandy, it was like This is what we had in Utah.
shit.
Actually, it might be better. Utah might have been better. Our locker room for the game was better, but the setup was very similar to Utah. We had about 35,000 seats, 35,000. I can't remember what it was. There's more now, obviously.
Utah was a way smaller school than
now they have suites and they got press
Yeah,
box.
okay.
We didn't have all
I didn't
that
think
when
about
played.
that.
Yeah, so we're playing in front of 37,000, and so me coming back here to play at Vanderbilt, it was kind of the same sentiment. And also, what people don't talk about, we were in portables in my rookie year, where the showers would flood. Like it was stuff like that. So they taught us, they told us, be patient. This is coming. This is a thing. So when we got into that new facility, and I was like, okay, now I finally made it.
What was key to your development as a pro? What was the hardest thing for you as you switched your game or developed your game from college to the pro?
I think, man, coming into the league, I was always considered an intelligent player, and I think that's one of the reasons I was up another notch too, because I just had this thing about remembering plays and concepts and stuff like that, be able to translate that pretty fast. And that's why I've always played multiple positions everywhere I went. And so my transition wasn't too bad from that aspect. I studied my playbook. I didn't have a whole lot of mental errors. The only thing I had to really get adjusted to was side adjustment. That's something I didn't have a whole lot.
What's side adjustment?
So side adjustment is you got to recognize how many people are in the box and the coverage, how many safeties, and if one of them leaves, that means that's one more rusher than blockers that we have. So my side adjustment was sometimes a slant hitch, depending on what it was for that week, to adjust for that vacant spot where the linebacker or safety left.
See, I just had to have you break that down because people just think it's X's and O's. Oh, he didn't throw. Nah, there's more to the game. There's levels to this shit.
I had to learn that quick, but that was one of those moments. I missed one once, and thank goodness I played with a Houdini type quarterback. That it didn't kill me because he didn't get killed, but it was a fast lesson because you watch film, you're like, see, this is where you got to pay attention. So now it taught me the game. I learned defense, I learned movements, I learned safety, I learned that triangle, that linebacker safety corner, what they trying to do, when is it going to be zone versus when it's going to be man. I can get them early signs based on, I ain't had to look at the corner a lot of times. I can look at that outside linebacker or that defensive end and kind of tell you, oh, this is coverage is going to be, and that just comes from, oh, now I know how to study film a little bit different. So I was a true student of the game from all aspects, and I think that was what helped me transition a little bit easier. But the other part of that, to your question, is the NFL is a fine line between opportunity and confidence. And a lot of times there's a lot of talented guys, they're just not getting the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then there's dudes that get the opportunity that lack the confidence. And there was a time mine was wavering. Like there was a time when I was super confident, and there was a time when I had doubt. And then that came back around, that confidence again, and then get hurt, and then there goes some more doubt. And then that was kind of my cycle. And really, man, I tell people, the NFL, this talented people, they may be the number 3, number 4, but they on the roster, they talented.
Yeah.
And everybody can play. They might not be as talented as, say, Randy Moss or somebody like that, but who is? But all of us fit a role and part of a team. And that's your job, is to help that Hall of Famer, if you will, fulfill his destiny, but fulfill yours and help teams win and get to Super Bowls. And that happened to be my role.
After your rookie year was the 99 season. You get the new jerseys, the new stadium. Y'all coming swagged out, go undefeated at home for the first season, own Jacksonville. What were some of the highlights of the regular season for you? And for you, when did you know, yo, we got something? So
we opened up the stadium. It was hot as Hades. Boy, we're playing the Bengals. I had the first receiving touchdown in the stadium.
Nice.
And I didn't think about it at the time. Of course, they do the timeline after the game, the first kickoff in the new stadium, all the first touchdown scored. So I had the first receiving touchdown in there in the stadium. So that's kind of cool. And it's kind of sentimental, too, because they about to tear that joker down, too. Mm-hmm. So that was in the south end zone, same side of the field, southwest side of the end zone, just opposite end of where the miracle was. So, you know, I scored the first receiving touchdown and the last touchdown of that season in that stadium. And then, of course, the games in between the battle with the Ravens, man, we went back and forth with them. That was intense. And then, of course, beating Jacksonville, beating the brakes off of them on Christmas. Was it Christmas Day? It was around that time, and it was that conversation of, you know, I think they had won the division. They were 14-1. We were 12-3. And we played them last game of the season. right for the playoffs and beat them up pretty good. Had a pretty decent night and went up 13-3 and took second. And the team that beat us that was in first, they had 2 losses and they were both to us that year. So that was we talk about some motivation, but that was kind of that thing.
You're involved in 2 of the greatest plays of that season within a month, 3 weeks of happening. You got the Music City Miracle, so you got the highest of the high, and then you got when you miss it by a yard. So
you think about those 2 moments in 3 weeks apart, that's the epitome of sport. You talk about the miracle and preparation and being prepared for your job. I wasn't supposed to be on the field, but it works out, and it doesn't work out as it's designed. Fast forward 3 weeks, I'm in the progression. It goes as designed for the most part, and I don't score. And that's the irony of sports, right? You just got to be prepared. Like, here I am, something iconic happens, and I'm not even supposed to be a part of it. I'm not even supposed to be on the field, let alone the design didn't go right. Then I'm on the field, I'm a starter, it goes as designed, and I'm not successful. And so you go from, like you said, the highs to the highs, lows to the lows. And here I am trying to diminish or minimize what happened here because the focus is on that Super Bowl and winning, because that's ultimately, we all want to make money. Don't get me wrong. We playing a kid's game for a king's ransom, and that's ultimate goal. I'm no sugarcoating that, but ultimately you want to be a Super Bowl champion.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's why we all play it. We want to win championships. So you get to the epitome of all sport games in your second year after being a part of an iconic moment, and then you're not successful. That was hard. That was a hard pill to swallow, man. I don't think I've ever had that much stress, anxiety in my life. Like, I felt like I let down everybody that wore the two-tone blue. I felt I let down my family. I thought I let down the city. Because for me, that was the first time, again, I just go on Music City Miracle, I had the ball in my hands. I'm talking about since I was a kid. I can't remember. I still, to this day, 25 years later, have been trying to figure out and remember a moment where I've had the ball in my hand at the end, I wasn't successful. I've never failed in that to that capacity,
right?
And then to do it in your first big major championship moment, where literally at that time it was the most watched Super Bowl up until that point.
But I don't look at it as a failure. You know, I look at it as like, it would have been a failure if you dropped the ball. That's a failure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just look at it as a football play. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing is you didn't get into the end zone. You also said that the Music City Miracle play was drawn up differently, and you wasn't even supposed to be in that position.
I wasn't supposed to be on the field,
but it worked.
Let alone in that position. Yeah, so as they're calling for my name, and I'm thinking it's Hans' team. That was the only special teams I was on. Like, what they calling me for? Well, what I didn't realize is, I did know, D. Mace went out with a concussion. He was our primary return man, and his backup was Anthony Dorsett Jr., who was cramping up. The irony of all that is I was cramping up at the time that D. Mace got his concussion, I was in getting IV so I could finish the game. And because I was cramping up already in third quarter. And so as Allen and them are getting me, they're telling me just of the play is, hey, they're going to squib it, and Frank's going to get the ball. He's going to try to track the return team. He's going to ladder across the field to Isaac. You get in pitch relationship for him. If he gets in trouble, he can pitch to you or try to step out of bounds, whatever the situation is, try and get a field goal to win this game. So as we get on the field, Isaac is trying to, hey, make sure you get behind me. If I get in trouble and pitch to, Frank is kind of telling me the same thing. Like, I'm going to allow to, because I've never been out there before.
Not even in practice?
Not even in practice. I've seen it run. But, we had one foot out the door. We're trying to get to the
last play.
Or to the
home
hotel.
run throwback.
Yeah, we're not really worried about it, And so when the ball went up, it was bloop. I remember working on a bloop. I think we worked on different squibs, different people getting it. But before I go into that, a few years ago, and this is unfortunate because this is the last time that the three of us were together to talk about this play, I learned that Lorenzo Neal literally went to Frank and said, hey, I'm going to get this ball. Come get it from me. I'll block for you. He ordained it. He already knew he was getting the ball. So it went right to him. He caught it and did what he did. And then,
he's like, here, Frank.
Yeah, here, take this. I can't throw. So he gave it to Frank. Frank goes, and I can't ask Frank this now either, but I don't remember if he ever told me this. I don't know if he knew who he was lateraling the ball to.
He just knew he had to throw it.
He just knew he had to throw it. And sure enough, I looked, and I'm last man there. And I don't know, it was instincts. It was just a football player being a football player. I don't remember thinking much of anything other than, I got to step back and get this ball. I'm only going over here. And that's just instincts because I wasn't supposed to do that. I catch it, man, and I had the easiest job. The one thing I could do is run. So all I had to do was run. Everybody else did the same thing, man. And when Doug Christie went down, I literally thought, should I get out of bounds, right? Because in my head, it was get what you can get out of bounds. We just need a field goal to win. There's only a few seconds left in the game anyway. And when he went down, I was like, oh, I'm about to score. And I wasn't worried about nobody catching me from behind. I wasn't worried about that. So when I scored, man, that celebration, if you see me, I run to the side. I ran to the side of the field. It was intent on that because prior to that, they were taunting our fans, taunting our sidelines. They were doing all the things, and that was just kind of my way to say, it ain't over, baby. I was like, So that's why you see me run on the other side of the field. And then it was kids over there, too. So
yeah, that's a great moment in NFL history, man. Yeah. The next year, we're doing big things again, 13-3. Now we got the passing game cooking. Yancey was hurt a lot, so Derrick Mason had to step up and step in. We got to see the development, and you saw it. What was it like working with side by side with D Mace when you were healthy, and then when you obviously get hurt, you have to take care of your own stuff, but you're still watching from the side, and you still getting back in this thing to see D Mace go to the level, take it to the level that he took it to.
Man, I'm so proud of D Mace, man. First of all, that was the 2 years I had with him was some of my funnest. It was just me and him had this kinship, man. We fed off of one another. Like I knew his routes. We ran routes a lot, but that happened because of my injuries. Like he was on trade conversation. There was one point where I don't think he sat out practice, but I think he was almost out the door. But it didn't work out. He ended up staying, so he was primarily our return guy.
Right.
As you
That's
mentioned,
what I remember.
Yeah, Yancey got hurt, and then I got hurt, as you mentioned in that practice. So Mace went from number 5 guy just returning to he was put into that number 2 spot. It eventually be number 1 because Yancey went down, I went down, etc. Well, Heimerdinger, who became offensive coordinator, who had just told me, I just had that 100-yard game you mentioned, we about to feature you. I was about to be put into that number 1 spot. And well, I get hurt, and he liked route runners. He liked guys that knew how to make people move so he can create space and things like that. And me and Mace kind of had that same, like I say, kind of that same mentality when it came to route running. And then Mace gets his opportunity, and he did exactly what he's supposed to do. I'm so proud of that dude, man. You're not supposed to look back. You're supposed to take advantage of opportunities to give it to you and don't look back. And that's exactly what he did. And he made himself bona fide, borderline Hall of Famer. I think he's in there. He's one of the top 5 receivers of his era. I think he should be. Yeah, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, man, for what he accomplished.
Yeah, man. You had some great feats in your career. Like you also got to play on the same team as your brother, Andre, Birdie. What was it like playing with your brother just to even get that time, man?
I appreciate that, man. I honestly, I love and appreciate it more now than I did at the time. I think not that we took it for granted. I think we tried to downplay it so much. We both just wanted to play ball, and both were trying to establish ourselves, that we downplayed it. And looking at it now, we should have taken advantage of that opportunity. We should have done some things from a business standpoint or a nonprofit standpoint. We did some camps and stuff together with our names on it back home and even here, but I don't think we truly, fully embraced the uniqueness that was and how truly we were like one of a kind. And it probably hasn't happened. It happened one time in 100-something years in the NFL, and who knows when and if it'll ever happen again. It's only happened one time that we were the first brothers to have a reception, interception in the same game, have an interception for a touchdown and a reception for a touchdown in the same game.
That's crazy.
And we did it twice, and I don't know if it'll ever happen again. So looking now, I'm 50 years old, I'm like, dang, we should take advantage of that stuff, and really market it that uniqueness that it was.
I've always said, man, one of the scariest things is like the ACL. You always worry about that. Yours was an ACL?
Everything.
ACL, meniscus, all that stuff. It was a freak injury. I remember at practice, I was on this look team, and it was a deep ball downfield, and, it was to Kevin. Yeah. And one of the defensive backs went and made a play on it, and that took Kevin out for the season and changed the trajectory of his NFL career for the rest of his life.
Man, I go back to that play. We talked about side adjustments earlier, and that's how that play happened. It was a side adjustment. When they show the show team the cards, they know what's coming.
Right.
And so typically they don't make contact. When I say they, the show team or the defensive back, anybody really makes contact, especially on the defenseless receiver. And I saw Perry because I knew he was coming. We knew the blitz. I knew the blitz was coming, and I saw him. So I said, okay, he's just gonna try to spook me. But he jumped it fast before he knew it was coming. And I didn't protect myself as I would have had I known he was going to.
You weren't thinking to protect. Like
yeah.
It wasn't a thing. It was a ball for you. It was your period.
Yes, it. And so when you go through that, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and they tell you, this is pretty devastating. You done tore your ACL, MCL, LCL, dislocated, meniscus, like all that's gone, basically snapped in half, and your career is threatened at 25 years old. And I'm just coming off of the Super Bowl and the Music City Miracle. I'm just coming off of that, and so my offseason was
your trajectory is,
man. I'm driving from that, and so then you get to that point, and you got to rehab. It's such a mental battle, man, because you feel like a forgotten man a lot of times because you're not really in the meetings.
Walking through the locker rooms. Oh, what's up,
man,
KD?
Yeah, man. Y'all grinding and sore, and I'm over here.
Nappy head.
Yeah, come on. And then you go to the games, and everybody's balling out, and it was like, they don't need me. That's what you think, because we're 13-3, and we're back to the number one team in the NFL. We in cover of Sports Illustrated, the best team in the NFL, and all the things, and I'm thinking, dang, they gonna go to the Super Bowl, and I'm not gonna be part of it, and all that kind of stuff, man. It was just, that was hard. That was hard, especially when you have been a starter your whole life, your whole career. This was the first time in my life that I had to sit out and watch everybody else do. And it was just always, I felt like I could never get past that. I want to prove my worth, because it was one injury, play, injury, play, injury. And then it was like, you're 30 years old and we don't think you can still do it. But it was you talking about hard to swallow that pill, man. That 3-year stint, 2.5-year stint was like, man, you get to be 30 years old and you're like, man, now what?
The rough patch that, us athletes call injuries, It seems that you were able to bounce back and, Papa got his groove back. What are your thoughts of the Titans right now to this day, and how should they invest and spend that $120 million plus they have in the cap?
I don't even know if I even touched that one, but I will. No, man. I think in any good organization, in a franchise or sport, even the high school level, you want to see progress forward. And I thought for the vast majority of the season, it was one step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And it's hard to win games in the National Football League anyway, and let alone when you're inconsistent. You can't turn the ball over. You can't have penalties. You can't do all the things when you're not, quote unquote, good yet. That's going to be harder to overcome. And I think some of the teams that we have played on together, and probably in our college days before and even after, the one thing about those teams that was consistent, one, we didn't care who got the credit. Two, we had the ability to overcome adversity or a moment. We may turn the ball over. Defense probably got to stop. Defense gave up a long touchdown drive. We got it back.
Complimentary
football. We did it, and that's fine line. You've been in locker rooms where it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't gelling. And I've been fortunate to be on 2 rosters that was the synergy. It wasn't like we got in that locker room, it was like had an ego. We had egos, but it was like at the end of the day, we want to win. Then you get to the Super Bowl and you try to ride it out. And I think that is what has been missing the last few years, is there's been a lot of turnover. And I'm not talking about the roster.
Right.
This from top down.
Bottom, yeah.
And one thing we had coming through was consistency. And if you look at some of the more consistent programs and teams that are their valleys are smaller than everybody else's, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and people don't even talk about that enough. They haven't had a losing season in like 20-something years, 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
They've been 500 and better. Why are we not talking about that model?
I introduced you as Dr. Dyson, rightful title, but what made you, or when did you decide you're going to go back to get your doctorate to now where you're looking to open your own charter school, and hopefully I could get on the board of that school?
Yeah, absolutely. I just hadn't asked you yet. Man, I tell you what, like that first couple years, I was 30 years old, and I still thought I could do it. I would watch people like that I mentored, like Drew Bennett and Justin McCarron's playing, and then go get the bag. I'm like, these were my backups, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I still trained a little bit, and at one point I had the Redskins call me like, "How are you still in shape?" But I had almost like given up. Now, I was honest. I shouldn't have been honest because I already got an opportunity, but I was like, truth be told, I really hadn't been training like that. You know what I'm saying? And then I get no call back. And I for like that next year or two, I was like teetering. Do I want to chase this coaching dream? Do I want to maybe try to play ball? Canada called, a couple arena teams called Gary. And he's like, what you want to do? I said, man, I couldn't humble myself, man. It was a pride thing.
Nah, your first round pick, baby.
I was like, man, I can't. And so I was like, okay, let me settle in on, let me try to coach. And then I found out that world was a lot of politics in it. Even in my alma mater, I was like, coach, you know me. You like, give me an opportunity. If you don't like what I'm selling, you got to buy, but at least let me have an opportunity. And was like, I don't know. So there was a couple things that happened even here locally, and I just like got a bad taste in that. So I settled in on secondary education. I knew doors would open for me, but if I'm gonna be in the educational space, I need to be qualified. So I was justified. That's why the name of the book came like that, because I was like, let me go back to school, because I don't know what I'm talking about, really. I'm just out here. You know, I can tell you football, I can tell you X's and O's, but the rest of it, I had no clue. And that's why I got the first master's degree. The second one was just that circumstantial, but the doctorate, that was one of those things, man. You're an athlete, you're a successful athlete, now you're an entrepreneur. There's a level of competition that you have within yourself to say, can I do this? Yeah. And that's still in me. It has always been in me. That's why I keep challenging myself, like, can I do this? And that doctorate piece, and I saw how that even came about when like I said, I got 2 master's degrees. I went to speak in Florida for the NFLPA. I went to this coaching thing, and they were talking about, you got 2 master's degrees? I said, yeah. They said, did we pay for that? I was like, pay for what? I didn't know y'all would. I was like, I didn't know you would. She said, yeah, you need to call the NFLPA when you get home and see if it pay for it. So I called. There's like, you're outside the statute of limitation. We don't pay for you, but call the NFL Trust. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. She was like, well, call this number and tell them what you're looking for. So I called them and we spoke. She said, well, you are outside the statute of limitation for what we can do, but we do offer grants for athletes that want to further their education or want to open up a business or whatever. There's different criteria. And I applied for it, and they essentially paid for almost 100% of it, like 98% of it. I think I had to pay some technology bill, like $300 of it all. And I was like, I had no excuse. You know, somebody's gonna pay for a $40,000 education for you.
No brainer.
No brainer. I mean, so I was like, I went this far. Let me go ahead and do it. So I got into school. I got the grant. They paid for the whole thing. All I had to do was do the work, and that was how that happened.
What are you looking to accomplish, and what are you looking to get out of this school that you're starting here in Nashville, the Music City Academy? Let me be specific.
Yeah. I'm trying to take all the things we're talking about and turn it into a school. So I'm taking the unifying power of sports and helping student athletes achieve, of course, academic excellence, but athletic excellence and success as well, and trying to do that through sport and having, you know, the curriculum centered around sport engagement, team over self, humility, work ethic, motivation, and have kids in teams within the building, but everybody plays a sport. Every teacher is a coach, because a lot of our impact came from our coaches, the people that we dealt with, what our passions were. I went to school. I got decent grades. I did well enough because my mom made me. I had to be average.
No doubt.
But it was playing the game. I didn't understand what I could be doing with my life as far as other opportunities surrounding sports. There's information directors, program designers, sports marketing, videographers, and now there's so many opportunities in the world of sports that kids may not know or ever get a chance to be exposed to prior to going to a secondary education, a post-secondary education institution. Well, I'm just trying to take that and accelerate that process and give kids that are passionate in the world of sports an opportunity.
That was great, man. I appreciate you sitting in with me, man, taking us on that little journey, man. I appreciate you coming through,
bro.
Mr. Music City Miracle, Dr. Kevin Dyson. Thanks for watching Bullseye View. Please like and subscribe and check us out on all social media platforms.
Podcasting for the masses, and I'm coming correct.